Hello everyone, greetings from Hainan and welcome to our special program, Riding the Waves of the Hainan Free Trade Port, brought to you by CGTN and SSTV. I'm Zhong Shi. As Hainan goes full throttle to achieve independent customs operation by the end of 2025, we take a look today at the immense achievements made and the great potential we can all look forward to. Joining me today on our special program are Yu Tao, Director of the Research Center for Hainan Free Trade Port with Chinese Characteristics at the National Institute for South China Sea Studies. Mr. Yu, welcome.
Hello, Zhong Shi. Thank you very much for having me.
Great to have you. We also have Zhang Hongguang, Director General of Development Bureau of Yangpu Free Trade Port Zone. Welcome to our program.
Thank you, and hello everyone.
Also, we have Charlie Ho, Senior Director of Tapestry China Travel, Retail, and Hainan Business. Charlie, welcome.
Hello, Zhong Shi. Nice to meet you.
And last, certainly not least, we have Ding He, General Manager of Bloomage Biotechnology Hainan. Mr. Ding, fantastic to have you.
Thanks, Zhong Shi, and hello everyone. Great to see you.
All right, for the first part of our discussions today, I do want to talk about the policy support, the policy framework, and the innovation that is currently being undertaken here in Hainan. And for that, I want to go to Mr. Yu first. Mr. Yu, obviously, for the last 5 years, we've seen a lot of progress, including the policies that have been implemented here in Hainan. We're talking about everything from the first negative list on trade and services. We're talking about the fact that zero tariff policies have been enjoyed by most imported items, not all. We're also talking about tax incentives for both businesses and individuals. Of course, we have representatives from 2 of the businesses here with us today. How would you assess the overall achievement of the policy framework in Hainan?
Okay, as you know, the purpose of building this largest free trade port with Chinese characteristics is to build a shared future for mankind and also to support the economic globalization. So what's the fundamental way and method to build this free trade port with Chinese characteristics? Actually, the central government states very clearly that we have to align with the global economic and trade rules. So what are those rules? As you may know, RCEP is one of them. CPTPP, DEPA, those economic rules that the Hainan Free Trade Port should align with. If we describe in one sentence, for the past 5 years, what our policy framework is, I think the sentence is zero tariff, low tax rate, and simple tax system. Combined with 5 free and convenient flow, and plus 1 secure and orderly flow. So let me explain what's the details about this sentence. For example, zero tariff, as you just mentioned in the question, that we have some of the products already zero tariff. The total number of the tariff code in our country is about 8,900. In this moment, we have 3 positive lists, for equipment, for enterprise equipment import, for the materials, and for the vehicles, like cars and boats, etc. So in this moment, we have 3 lists released out, and it counts 20% of these 8,900 tax codes. The ultimate way for the island-wide special cooperation is we're going to have most of our products will be zero tariff, like 99%. So, but that's after year 2025, after the island-wide special customer cooperation.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's for zero tariff. So what is for the low tax rate? I think most of the enterprise have already, have this.
I will ask them later to make sure that they have enjoyed that for sure.
For example, for the corporate tax, for enterprise tax, we have 15%. For personal tax, we also have 15%. So that's the lower tax rate. This will give a lot of benefit to the companies. And number 3 is we will have a simple tax system, but this simple tax system is still under designing. So when we got the simple tax system after year 2025, we are still making this important policy. But we can see that, actually, I want to make clear is, people are really need to understand the different stage of building this free trade port. We build this free trade port, in my understanding, stage by stage, step by step. For example, on the 13th April, year 2028, from that point to year 2020, 1st of June, we have the overall plan for free trade port. So that period is the designing period. It's the policy designing period. So 2028 to 2020, then on June, 1st of June, we have the overall plan.
Now, I do want to come to Charlie. Charlie, after hearing what Mr. Yu said about the framework that has been already established here, can you help us understand what your company in Hainan does, and has it truly benefited from those policies mentioned by Mr. Yu just now?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, we are noticed that Hainan Free Trade Port already started the preparatory work in this year to achieving independent customers operation by 2025. And that means by 2025, the FTP will provide global traders benefit, such as zero tariff and also other preferential benefit. And for tapestry, we are fully aware it, and it's really attract us. So we have an early plan to step in to Hainan market. We signed a strategic agreement with the Hainan International Economic Development Bureau and also with the HICO Comprehensive Committee to set up our China Travel Retail headquarters in Hainan. Yeah. And actually, we have a lot of benefit from it. For example, it helps us to recruit a lot of talent in our headquarters in Hainan, and also it's give a lot of beneficial from the tourists, such as not only for the FTP the benefit, and also have some benefit from the duty-free policy. Yeah.
Ms. Zhang, something tells me that you will echo a lot of what Mr. Yu said just now about the benefits that Hainan has implemented for businesses like Charlie's, like Mr. Ding's. I want to get your take also on the framework of policies that have been implemented here in Hainan, and in your research, in your understanding, just how attractive are these policies?
So I can just express my own opinion from my new experiences. So I come from Yangpu Free Trade Port Zone, and we have the demonstration zone, free trade zone. We have implemented many policies. First, in Yangpu bounded zone, and those policies, and the most important one is the value-added duty-free policy. That is, when you import raw materials from outside and you process in Hainan province, and if you output those products into the rest of China, and you can be duty-free of the raw materials. So this policy can give many benefits to the corporations around the Hainan province. And now we have clustered more than 40 enterprises surrounding healthy food processing now in Yangpu Development Zone. And the total, it has 10 billion. It is a very increasing and accelerating region.
Understood. Mr. Ding, both you and Charlie are pioneers in a way that you are very aware of the Hainan, what the Hainan Free Trade Port can offer, and you have established a presence here in Hainan, hoping to reap the benefits of those early on policies. Can you share with us what your company does in Hainan, because you're not in retail like Charlie is, what your company does here in Hainan, and how have those policies directly affected your business?
Yes, actually, in the year 2020, we noticed that Hainan Free Trade Port published the new policy. We believe that is an innovation policy for China. I believe that is innovative pilot areas to more open to the world, more closely tied the interactive with the business with other countries and with a low tax rate but high efficiency. So we learned of that policy. That policy, we believe that is benefit our strategy. For the Bloomage Biotech is growing. We are growing with new drivers. New drivers means that we would like to develop new business, new areas. So we make the decision to set up an industrial park in Hainan and make the 3 major strategy for Bloomage to Hainan. We would like to grow with Hainan together. The strategies are, we would like to set up the regenerative medicine business, medical devices business, and for the international business in Hainan. That are new areas, new business for Bloomage.
And Mr. Yu, I want to come back to you because you were talking about really just the growth trajectory of the Hainan Free Trade Port. Can you enlighten us on how that growth trajectory is going to continue, talking about the next phase of development for the Hainan Free Trade Port? And how does the Hainan Free Trade Port compare to some of the more mature and established free trade ports of the world? We're talking about Hong Kong, Singapore, and Dubai. After you, I'm going to pick the brain of Ms. Zhang on this topic also. Mr. Yu.
Okay. I want to continue to talk about the full period. Actually, it is full period, different stage. The first stage, as we just mentioned, is from 2018 to 2020. So this is the designing period. The second period is from 2020 to 2022. We have 13 different industry parks, include Yangpu and Boao and Lingshui, other industrial parks for different industries, like for education in Lingshui, for medicine, is in Boao. So those 13 different industry parks only account for the land area of Hainan, only 2%. But they contribute 40% tax revenues and 50% investment of the whole Hainan last year, 2022. So that's the second stage. Now we are in the third stage. We call the third stage is from the beginning of 2023 to the end of 2025. So this is a pressure testing period. That's what we're going to talk about later is for the independent customer corporation test, pressure testing period. So this period is we need to specifically align with those global international trade rules. And finally, we have the fourth period is the year after 2025. We're going to have the full scale of our policies for free trade port. As I just mentioned, the 5 free convenient flow, or we say liberalization and facilitation for trade and investment, for cross-border cash flow, for people entry and exit, also for transportation, in and out transportation. And finally, for the data, we have the secure and orderly data transfer. So those are the framework we're going to have in this moment and after year 2025. So this different period. So how to, as you just mentioned, how to make our sustainable development for the future of building this Hainan Free Trade Port. I think we have to do it step by step in stage. And especially in this moment, we need to focus on how to do the pressure test for the independent customer corporation. Right. On one hand, we should align with those economic and trade rules globally. And on the other hand, we need to, look back our particular conditions and try to find a way to combine the international rule with our local situation.
Well, even though we're talking about the achievements made over the course of the last 5 years now, we are also fully aware that Hainan is striving for that higher standard trade rules. that are internationally applied here. And Ms. Zhang, I want to come to you now. Ms. Zhang, what specific clauses from international agreements and rules has Hainan chosen to trial, especially in the Yangpu bonded port area where you work?
So you know, we have 5 theories in facilitation and liberalization. That is trade, investment, transportation, capital flow, and entry and exit of people, and the safe and orderly flow of data. Now, in Yangpu development zone, we have trialed those policies in Yangpu area. And the crucial policy is value added, over 30%, that it can be exempt from import duty. And I will give some examples of this policy. Yangpu is focused on this policy and has given many preferentials for the enterprises. And when enterprises import raw materials from outside and they get processing in Hainan province, and when they output into the rest of China, it can be exempt from imported tariffs. So this policy attract many enterprises into Yangpu development zone. So I can give you a group of data. There are more than 40 enterprises clustered into the Yangpu development zone. And most of them are health food product, such as soybean oil, rapeseed oil, and meat production, and prepared dish, and etc. So we have already give exemption of over 200 million yuan. We have a cluster of enterprises of 10 billion yuan.
And for now, I want to head into the second part of discussions today, talking about the independent customs operation that is currently that is scheduled to take place by the end of 2025. A lot remains to be done. Mr. Yu, I am very curious. When you heard Charlie say that there are still some weaknesses in the infrastructure of Hainan as we now undergo that pressurized test to finish independent customs operation, if all goes to plan by the end of 2025, do you agree that there are still some areas that we need to focus on? For example, infrastructure building, the convenience of getting around on the island of Hainan, and also what else remains to be done in this period, the third period, as you mentioned, that we are currently undergoing?
Definitely. I just want to add a bit more on the difference between Hainan and those other 3 famous free trade ports. You know, for advantage, Hainan, we have a large area. We have about 10 million people, right? We have the vast market back to China. So those are our advantage, and we are, as our guest just mentioned, we are new, you know, we have a potential future. But on the other hand, we should try to make cooperation with those 3 famous free trade ports. Like Hong Kong, our province government have already announced that we are going to have a close cooperation with Hong Kong in the area of service trade, because Hong Kong is very professional in service trade. For Hainan, trading service is the most important part for building this free trade port, because in this new era, trading service is a very important sector for economic growth. And our advantage, our whole nation's advantage, is in trading goods, you know. But in trading service, we are not have much advantage. For example, compare with United States, you know, they have advantage about a large amount of money within the area of trading service, although we have an advantage on trading goods, you know. So we need to improve our standard and ability to do the trading service. So in Hainan, we need to cooperate with Singapore, with Hong Kong, to improve our standard of offering those trading services. Like we doing 3 major consumption returns. That's a very important point. 3 major consumption returns is the key part, a very important target for building this free trade port. The first one is education consumption return. We have Lingshui Industrial Park. We have this September, we're going to have the first university from Germany, Belfield University. They're independently operating, and they are having students in this September now, and they're doing this university independently by themselves. So this is the first events in our education reform history. So that's for the education return. We need to have more schools, more college, worldwide, very famous ones. And second, we need to have the medical return, as our guest doing the business related about this medical service. We have I call it 3 same time. What means 3 same time is in the same time we can have the medical equipment. In the same time we can have the medical medicines, and also in the same time we can have the medical service compared with the international market. For example, in 2020 we have one medicine called Platini. The Americans FDA make it supply to the market on the beginning of September. We have it in Boao the end of September. So 1 month we can have the same medicine, compared with the rest of the world. So those are the very important things for the second consumption return related with medicine. And third one is the major consumption return is the duty-free shopping industry. As you just know, it's very famous here because we have the 100,000.
Charlie will be very
Yeah,
happy to
we have the
understand really well.
we have the 100,000 amount. This is the very unique policy,
Could that amount even be enlarged, be
Of
elevated?
course, after the independent customer operation, maybe, everything is possible.
I do want to come back to you later, Mr. Yu, about the challenges in that process, obviously. And I want to come to Charlie now because you had a big grin when he talked about the possibility of even a larger duty-free shopping quota here, which is possible after 2025. Charlie, what are your expectations after 2025? We're obviously talking about more retail numbers, better retail numbers for your company. What are you imagining now?
We enter Hainan market a long time. Around 10 years ago, we opened my first duty-free store in Sanya. Until now, we already have 10 duty-free stores and there's 4 retail stores in Hainan. And in coming 3 years, we're planning to open another 10 retail plus duty-free store. You can see in Sanya, the Big Mixi, the Taigu already tapped into Hainan market. It's not only for the traditional duty-free. It's like Mr. Yu's side is after 2025, the whole island to become a duty-free whole environment. Maybe for some traditional shopping mall, the consumer will pay consumption tax, but compared to the mainland, still have a lot of pricing advantage. For me, I think the one thing is we need to enhance is our shopping environment and also the services, because now it really depends on the duty-free pricing. It's really compared to domestic, it's around 15% saving for consumers. But recently, last year, October, CDFG opened here in Haikou, the largest duty-free shopping mall in the world. And you can see every cosmetic is a boutique. It's totally different than other traditional shopping mall. And also, it's a lot of brand have a new image launched in Haikou duty-free store. And also recently, Sanya will open the Block C area. It's a totally for beauty. So all the beauty will move to the Block C and they will reallocate the luxury brand in Block A and Block B. So you can see the Taigu is already in Sanya, Mixi already in Sanya. DFS is planning to open a store in 2025 in Hainan, Yalongbei. So it's a lot of, like Mr. Yu said, after 2025, it's a lot of opportunities for us.
Mr. Ding, growth targets wise, do you share similar optimism as Charlie? But you're obviously in different industries here. When it comes to biotechnology, what will be the new opportunities after 2025?
Yes, of course. After the year 2025, we would like to fit a new area, because the border is will be set up between the mainland China market and Hainan, but a new tax system will be act. So we expect the Hainan Island will be a real free trade port. It means that high efficiency for the business, more open to the global market. After 2025, we will set up a border and operate new tax systems, right? If there will be a very efficiency operations system to help the companies, enterprise, have no gap connection with the mainland, we will benefit, the systems, the rules, and continue to drive the business growth for mainland market. For the high technology industry, is one of the Hainan growth driver for the economy, right? So, such as our industry come to Hainan to build up a industrial park, it means that long-term of growth for the long-term of the sustainable business growth. That means that we would like to face a real open market to closer connection with our global partners, our global competitors. We would like to stand up very high standard trade port to do the business with global business companies. That will be very good for us, both for the opportunities and the challenges. But one of us, such as our key players for the international business in the future, we would like to take the challenges, and we believe that with the benefit of the Hainan Free Trade Port, we will build up, step by step, build up an international business company to compete and place with those international players.
Ms. John, both of our business representatives here talk about the importance of the Chinese market, which their businesses rely heavily on. When we talk about things after 2025, it doesn't mean Hainan is cut off from the rest of China. One would argue that increased ties will be established in a way. How does Hainan enhance and cement its ties with the rest of China, with the Chinese mainland here?
Hainan is a quite crucial intersection of domestic and international market.
For sure.
So, as I mentioned before, and with the trade facilitation of the free flow at the first fly and the second flow efficient control at the second line. So many people they worried about the cutoff from the domestic market. So the relevant the government now is focusing on the study of how to get the second line more efficiency and more fluency. And we will connect the domestic market together much fluent than before. So that is the first, the free flow at the first line, it is very fluent. And the second line, we will give it a very efficient management measure to sustain the relationship with the domestic market. And we have confidence to have that we will connect the domestic market and the international market more fluent than before.
I asked both of our company executives about what they can imagine come 2025, beyond 2025. They talked about growth forecasts. They talk about competition arising from other companies, also very aware of the opportunities Hainan has to offer. Are they missing out on something? Are they missing out on some opportunities that they're not currently aware? Can you add to their expectations for their businesses?
Okay, as I just mentioned, for the framework of the free trade policy, we have that one sentence. You go zero tariff, low tax rate, simple tax system, and free convenient flow, and one secure order flow. That's one part. But for the companies to focus on is industry. The industry is the most important part for area to develop, and only this area's economic can develop very successfully. The enterprise can benefit from it. So what kind of industry that Hainan is trying to focus on?
What about retail and biotechnology?
Definitely, yeah. But 4 leading main industry is clearly saying on the overall plan. First one, number one, tourism. Second one, modern service industry, the retail, modern service industry. Third one, high-tech industry. Fourth one, efficient agriculture, efficient tropical agriculture. Those are the 4 important industries. If I want to give advice to a businessman from mainland, from domestic, from international, from other places, from the rest of the world, I will tell them, do this for industry. Those are the business opportunities within it. And on the other hand, 3 major consumption returns. For example, if you're from Singapore, I will tell you, do you have any relations and connections in Singapore for education industry? Can you introduce them to Hainan, especially on medical service, agriculture sector, for example? For those special areas, the universities can independently have a cooperation and independently operating in Hainan. So if you have the connections, introduce them to Hainan, to share this wonderful business opportunity.
Well, too bad I'm not from Singapore, but I believe some of our viewers are. And if you're watching from Singapore,
Yes.
You just got some very valuable tips from
Exactly.
Mr. Yu here. It could be $1 million idea, and that's only on our special program here. And thank you very much, Mr. Yu. And for now, I want to go into our next part of our discussions today about Hainan and its position on the Belt and Road Initiative and Hainan's international cooperation. Of course, some of our guests already touched upon this topic in their answers today, but I do want to come to Ms. Zhang first about how the Hainan Free Trade Port aligns with the objectives with the Belt and Road Initiative. Belt and Road Initiative is primarily about increasing connectivity between different regions of the world by building infrastructure. How does Hainan fit into this grand picture of the Belt and Road Initiative, Ms. Zhang?
Hainan has a very good position.
Of course.
And it is close to the Indian Sea and the Pacific Sea, and it is a very important nexus of the Western Land Sea Corridor and the 21st century maritime Silk Road. So it is the most nearest to the ASEAN countries. And you know that now ASEAN countries has become the biggest trade partner of China. So we should align to those ASEAN countries to meet those to make the business enhanced together. And Hainan is a very big position to connect the domestic and the international market together. So and with the tariff duty-free, the tariff system, and many environmental business environmental managements, Hainan has grasped many attractions from abroad. So we have a great confidence in Hainan Free Port area.
we are, of course, marking the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative. Charlie, I want to come to you now. How do you feel that Hainan has actively pursued cooperation in economic ties with international organizations, other countries, especially those that have signed on to the Belt and Road Initiative? Do you feel that Hainan is consciously increasing cooperation because we already have a very ambitious blueprint there? It makes the cooperation sensible with countries.
I think Hainan is not only in China now, it's very famous. It's also globally, it's very famous. And our brand, our Tapestry Group CEO and Coach brand CEO just visited Hainan 2 months ago, and the physically experience, and then they tell to me is that Hainan has a huge potential. They see the huge potential, and I just want to thank Mr. Yu clarify. It's a lot of different things. Hainan, what is the independent customer operation? After that, is people go to Hainan still need a visa or need a special permit, like go to Hong Kong, Macau? So thank you for the clarification. I think Hainan is a very exactly is FTP is a very important window for global visitors, especially for the foreign company. Hainan already hold 3 expo in past 3 years. So I personally go to every time. So I see from the beginning, joint venture company or foreign company, the quantity compared to the recent one is almost double. And also through the category-wise, food and beverage, and also the cosmetic, fashion, and in this year we also have the car. So you can see a different categories company want to go to the Hainan, whatever for seeking the opportunity or have some manufacturing build set up here. And another thing is I visit Haikou comprehensive zone in last month. I see the Cainiao. They have a very, very modern, logistic warehouse. It's totally automatic. And also the CDFG build a huge logistic in Hainan. I think for me, I only consider about retail part. But like Mr. Yu said, the education in Lingshui, and also the medical things in where
乐城, Boao Lecheng.
Yeah. So it's very attract a lot of the foreign company. Also like the ladies here, they want to do the email. It's very famous in Hainan. It's not only for duty free. Hainan is not only for the pricing, not only for the nice weather, climate, and also a lot of new things. And another one very important thing is the policies of how to attract the young talent here. I think it's many young fresh graduate student wish to go to Hainan, especially for the tier 3, tier 4 citizen, because Hainan is more opportunity for their career. So I think Hainan will be step by step, but better and better. I'm fully confident for the development. I come here already 1 year. I am really, inspired by some efficiency. Even compared to some, the biggest city, Beijing, Shanghai, in some department or government efficiency is very, very good.
It's always interesting to me that when people talk about Hainan, they talk about it being a good workplace, about the opportunities here, but it's simply a very nice place to live in. I mean, the weather, the convenience, the food, it's simply a very, very nice place to live in. Let's not forget that. And Mr. Ding, you mentioned just now the cooperation between your company and a Japanese firm. You cited that as a successful example of international cooperation. I was wondering, when it comes to the international opportunities Hainan has to offer, are you eyeing other opportunities with foreign companies at this point? And might they be countries from the Belt and Road Initiative?
Yes, of course. For the businessman, otherwise for the enterprise pursues with potential and opportunities. So we believe that we can benefit from the policy. We benefit from the special areas. So we set up the business here, and we persuade our partners and investors believe that Hainan will have a very high potentials. Wherever we have the opportunity, right, the talent pursues the working opportunities. So we are attracting more talents comes to Hainan and working for Hainan companies and developing the business. That is a cycle. Besides a very good marketing environment and the living environment, we have a very good setup. But in the future, as we are still pursuing new opportunities, cooperating with new partners, new players to set up in Hainan and develop Hainan together. So as we say that, to build up Hainan is a long-term sort of strategy. We could not build up a very modern free trade port in one night. It's 5 years, 10 years work. So we have a very good setup. We are still facing the challenges and opportunities. I believe that we are facing for that. We are solving the challenges right now. So our partners see our Bloomage, our businessman, our team are working for that and solving those challenges. So that solving process is a very good example to attract more opportunity to come to Hainan. So it means that to develop Hainan is not only for enterprise, it's not only for the talent, it's for all of the areas, for the government, for the enterprise, for the talent to work together to build up for that. For the furthermost, wherever we have developed Hainan, other enterprise or opportunities will pursue Hainan, will have a bright future. So they will further invest Hainan. So that is another cycle for the business.
I have interviewed many businesses either wanting to establish a presence here in Hainan or already having an operation here in Hainan, and they've all told me about the importance of a favorable business environment. And that needs the government to do a lot of work. What do you think constitutes a good, positive business environment? What more can be done to give those businesses more confidence?
So I think the first thing is to give them a good business environment. So government should take we call it shopkeeper, 店小二, and to serve those enterprises into the Yangpu development zone. And we give these enterprises many supports from all around, and from their setting up and their registration and their procedures of import and export and all the questions they faced in their operation, during their operation. So we have featured the most favorable business environment in Hainan province, and we want to. Our purpose is rank to the world-class economic businessman that will give the big convenience and big confidence to the enterprises, I think. So that's the one thing. And the second is the policy. We now implement the free trade policy from every aspects, and we take it into implementation in trial points. And we will seek the advantages of the policy, and will make the enterprises to get the potentials from the policy. So they will get a great encouragement and to the Hainan Free Trade Port through the services and the policy implementation of our government.
As we get closer to the end of our discussions today, I do want to come to Mr. Yu now. When we talk about a favorable external environment for the development of the Hainan Free Trade Port, we have many. We have the RCEP being in effect now. We have, of course, the Belt and Road Initiative now into its 10th year. All of these are beneficial, favorable external links that Hainan can take advantage of. Hainan, of course, is facing, for example, Southeast Asia, the ASEAN countries. We've talked about Hainan increasing cooperation with other international free trade ports around the world. When it comes to Hainan going even more global, it is already pretty global as we speak now. When we talk about that next stage of internationalization for Hainan, where are we going? What are the directions for Hainan? Do I focus on increasing cooperation with RCEP signatory countries? Or do I increase and cement my ties with Belt and Road countries? How does this factor?
I think, as you just mentioned, regional comprehensive economic partnership is a very important aerial free trade agreement. It's a free aerial trade agreement. And Hainan, within this RCEP, we are in the middle point, right? If you look at the map, we are actually in the middle point. Above us, we have the mainland part of China. We have Japan and Korea. And under our direction is the ASEAN country and the Australia and New Zealand, right? So we are in the center point. For BRI, actually, I think we all know that BRI is a very important international public service platform, right? So we do have a positioning. We do have a specific position for Hainan to involve the construction of BRI. One key word, connecting point. We have 5 connecting points to build with. We're all saying that Hainan will become the connecting point for Belt and Road Initiative. The first connecting point is for policy. We have the Boao Forum, right? So it's a very good platform for the people and countries come to Boao to talk about their own policies for enhancing trade, investment, etc., right? And second point, we are the connecting point for funding. Funding is a very important factor, right? I can give you a very encouraging numbers, okay? So making the foreign investors have the confidence to invest in Hainan. Over the past 5 years, we have a total foreign investment increase rate about 40%, okay? So for the year 2018, 2019, and 2020, 3 consecutive years, we doubled the number, okay? So those past 5 years have already shown that the foreign investors have interest to invest in Hainan. So funding is a very important factor.
Absolutely.
Another important connecting point is for trade. It's also related with the foreign investment. We are building the free trade port, right? The free trade port is the main platform to improve our connecting point for trade, right? So that's the third connecting point. The fourth connecting point, as our guest just mentioned, infrastructure. We are building the, for aircraft, for ship, those connecting method, the transportation, improve our standard of transportation, and improve our infrastructure to make, we are really become the connecting point. Because connecting, we need transportation to do it, right? So that's the fourth point. The final point is people's heart connecting. It's very simple. People's heart connecting is very simple, but it's very important. Communicating is very important. Like Boer Forum, like today's program, we are trying to have a people's connecting,
Exactly.
way to tell the foreign investors, even also our domestic enterprise and talents that come to Hainan to share this wonderful opportunity. So BRI and the RCEP are also both very important for Hainan to make our clear rule, to make our contribution on those two important strategies.
Thank you so much for reminding us why we're doing this special program today. And before I go, can I have each of you say a few words about the future of Hainan in your imagination and what you wish for the Hainan Free Trade Port, beginning with Mr. Ding here.
Yes, high efficiency government, more open market to the globally.
All right. Charlie, can you say a few words?
I think first is beauty. So Hainan is everything. I hope is a beauty, not only for the climates, the weather, the sea, but everything. And another one I want to mention is the convenience. I hope Hainan is for domestic travelers coming here be more convenience. And another one is greener. Because I see this is the biggest province or area, the people using electric car than petrol car. So I see more than 40% green, the label of the car in Hainan is much more than Beijing and Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen. So I think the greener is also for Hainan to create a much better and better environment.
I think we're on track to achieve both of that.
Yeah.
Ms. Zhang, can I have you say a few words also?
So Hainan is an open window to the outside world. So welcome to Hainan Free Trade Port and welcome to Yangpu Bounded Port Area. Thank you.
Mr. Yu, coming to you now. I think a lot of our viewers watching today are more interested in Hainan and got to know more about Hainan after listening to our discussions today. Your final remarks before we go?
Business environment is the key factor for enterprise to come to investment, to make investment. So I want to tell everyone that Hainan will have the best business environment. And Hainan will become the hottest island for you to come to invest, especially for those foreign investors. Thank you.
Hottest island, hottest environment, but not too hot in summer. Hainan is actually a very good place to spend your summer
Exactly.
if you have the time and the opportunity. All right, everyone, with that, we come to the end of our special program today. As one of the country's major opening up measures, China plans to build the whole of Hainan into a globally influential free trade port by the middle of the century. And today, with the generous help, expertise, and analysis from my guests, we just got a glimpse into what that looks like, what that might look like in the future as we continue to witness and monitor the transformative changes happening right here on this beautiful island. On behalf of the entire team from CGTN and SSTV, we thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Zhong Shi in Haikou, the provincial capital of Hainan. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.